What up, though, YouTube? Welcome to the pregame show for the Detroit Lions. We have ourselves a very good show to cover the pregame for the Detroit Lions versus the Philadelphia Eagles. I am excited to be here. I am your host today, Luke G from Lukegsfieldreview, and today we are going to get this thing popping. Right now, we have the mystery man himself, CA3 Sports Talk, Carl. What up, though?
What up, though?
And then we have Mr. Maestro of all maestros, the introduction king, MicroMike. What up, though?
Hey, man, ready to get the Lions to get it, man. Get that W and shut these Eagles fans down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, Mike, let's do the roll call, sir. You want me to do it? Or you want to take care of it? Because
I got it, man.
All right, go ahead.
What up, though, Jay Schultz? What up, though, Kyle Webb, Adam Buchart, Keurig, Nomis J from the DSA, Officer Andy, what up, Doe, Elkai Productions, obviously DS owns Detroit, Drew, Dolo Dynamite, as well as Jay Schultz. What up, Doe, fellas, and Blue J Sarge, John Jones. Man, let's get it.
Absolutely. We have 22 people in the chat. Let's get those likes up immediately. Make sure you do not leave without hitting those likes up. We want to make sure that we're able to talk to it. And we want to make sure that we jump right into these questions because there's a lot to cover in a little bit of time. And just a quick note, if you are out of the market or you just want some entertainment value, definitely check out MicroMike's channel. It is linked in my description. He just recently hit 1,000 subscribers, and we are beyond excited for him. So we wanted to make sure that that we give some love to him. So again, MicroMike hit 1,000 subscribers, and it's a huge accomplishment in my opinion. So congrats to you for that. Let's get into it, fellas. I mean, Lions taking on the Philadelphia Eagles today. So what must they do to win this game? Let's start off with you, Carl.
What they need to do, they need to protect Stafford. They need to establish a run game, and in my opinion, they need to take away. In my opinion, they need to take away Nelson Aguilar and Zach Ertz too, and stop the run game too because they got a lot of running backs back there.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. To me, the biggest issue is going to be killing those tight ends. I know Goddard is said to have been active for this game, but then you got Zach Ertz, and then you got the running game. In the last two games, we have allowed the running backs to run on us way too much. So we have to shut the run down this time, look for those short passes, and make sure that we eliminate those tight ends. The receiving core is going to be a little different. You know, you're going to have Nelson Aguilar, which I'm not worried about him. More worried about JJ Arciaga Whitehead. He's Whiteside. I'm sorry, my bad. Listen, I told you I can't. Man, people names, man, they shouldn't be so long. Oh my God, here we go. You can hate me now. I wasn't even finna bring them up, man. They not nobody to mention. But what say you though, MicroMike?
First off, before I get into that, everyone, thank you so much. Got to 1,000 subscribers with that. If it wasn't for you, I definitely would not be there, man. I'm super excited. Now I can open up more and better product to you guys in the coming days, and you will see. With it comes to the win, I was going to go offensive line, but we just found out that Davis is active in this game. So how about we stop Ertz with Davis in the middle, and we actually get some pass rush with Tavai, our linebackers at full strength, and I am ready to see what this team does with a healthy linebackers, with Davis in there pumping up the defense, getting this defensive line to get after the quarterback and him stopping the run. So I say, man, let's stop that tight end because their number 1 and number 2 wide receivers are not in the game. Zach Ertz is a strong tight end. So with Davis and Tavai, let's stop him, man.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think that, looking at the defensive side of the ball, they got their work cut out for them today. And, they're going to have to make sure that they step up big today because one of the things I can tell you is, if anybody watched that Eagles versus Falcons game, they would know that during that game, man, that Eagles offensive line didn't really do any favors for their quarterback. And when you look at what happened, them guys were still hitting Wentz, and he was standing up throwing the ball. So we got to hit him and get him down. We can't afford to not have him hit the ground, and that's an important part of the process, because Lions got to find a way to put the pressure on him. We haven't been doing it for the last couple of weeks, and excuse me, y'all got to excuse me. I do have a cold, but they haven't done it for the last couple of weeks. So here's my question: if the Lions win, or let me rephrase that, when the Lions win today's game, do you think that will put the national media on notice? Let's start off with you, Mike.
No, they still will doubt our team. I think we have to win the Kansas City game to really put the NFL world on notice. If you looked at the Eagles, they had a hard time week 1, even though they won. Then last week they lost. I think it'll be more about how the Eagles are not a good team, and they'll talk about how the Cowboys pretty much got this thing wrapped up. I think we have to prove with a win against the Kansas City Chiefs will really to open up the eyes of the NFL. They'll simply say, look, the injuries on the Eagles were too much. They didn't have Jackson. They didn't have Jeffries. It was a fluke win, but you can't say fluke if we beat the Kansas City Chiefs, the team that they're predicting to go to the AFC Championship, if not Super Bowl. So we still got to get more wins this Sunday and next week to really get the national media to really buy on what the Lions are selling.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think even if they do win this game, they're going to have to win it convincingly. And the problem is they didn't win the 2 games prior convincingly. So that's going to be an issue for a lot of the people in the media. Now, I know that we're getting some love from some people, but it's not the notoriety that we would expect. So I'm going to go out on the limb with you on that and say, yeah, they're not getting it done. But what say you, Carl? I mean, you think we start to get a little bit of national respect?
No. Because we like, just like you said, we didn't do enough in the past 2 games to get that respect. So you can't really blame them for not giving us that respect, because I mean they still had their top 2 receivers out. And I think we should win this game. And I think people, if we win this game, people will look at it. Oh, the Eagles had injuries. They should have they lost this game because of injuries and stuff. I don't think they'll give us credit. I think for us to get that credit, we have to win. We have to be consistent and win those tough games, like the Chiefs and those tough divisional games.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to take us having a winning record past the Packers, in my opinion. So I think we would have to turn around and beat Kansas City, beat the Packers, and then we'll get the respect. And then you're still going to have your skeptics, those people waiting for us to fail. And when you look up and you realize that, okay, you have those people who are waiting for you to fail, now the question becomes, now what? Because those same people who are waiting on you to fail are going to be the same people that's going to question your motives going forward as a team. They have to answer all those questions. And in my opinion, I believe they can do it. But when we look at this matchup, and I think we will be biased to not mention it, who should we be concerned about on the Eagles? I mean, I know they got their fair share of injuries, but there's still some people to be worried about. Let's start off with you, Carl.
I think we should be worried about Zach Ertz, because I think he's a really good tight end, and also we should be worried about if we don't get pressure on Carson Wentz, we should worry about him, and I think we should be worried about Jordan Howard and the rookie Miles Sanders, because our running game, our run defense hasn't looked that good recently, and we should also be worried about Fletcher Cox. But besides that, I mean, I'm not really worried about anybody, really.
I mean, so for you, it's just Fletcher Cox is the only one?
I mean, there's nobody else in that. I mean, really, there's nobody in that secondary I'm really worried about, except maybe Malcolm Jenkins. I mean, there's nobody I'm really worried about.
I think Malcolm Jenkins is a huge person to be worried about. And I think Zach Ertz has to be somebody we have to be really concerned about. But Carson Wentz is going to be the deciding factor, because if he gets time, that could be an issue. That could be a bit of an issue. And I see the congratulations is coming into you, Mike. So let's go ahead and roll on over to you. What are your thoughts? I mean, who should we be concerned about on the Eagles?
I would say Jim Schwartz. He knows our team, our offensive skill players. Obviously, Matthew Stafford. We know what he's going to do. He's going to blitz wide 9, and put pressure. So we need to put an offensive scheme to combat what he's going to throw at us. And I'm worried that they may not adjust. I feel like they're going to blitz a lot, and my worry is we're not going to do as much screen pass as we should or short passes to mitigate that issue. We got Decker. It looks like he's playing left tackle. We need to worry about the offensive line and what that defense is going to pressure this offensive line. Again, like every single week, everything surrounds the trenches. If our offensive line cannot hold on to what Jim Schwartz is throwing at us, we're going to have issues.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Detroit Drew has just joined the show. What's going on, Drew?
How's it going, fellas?
Man, what it do, man? Glad to have you on, man. As you can see, we talking a little Detroit Lions football and just kind of talking about who gives you a little concern on the Eagles. So what say you? Who gives you a little concern on the Eagles right now?
I'm going with Fletcher Cox, man. This is back-to-back weeks. We got to play some elite pass rushers. We did a good job last week containing Bosa, but it's another challenge. Hopefully, if Decker come in and play, if he's confirmed yet or not, I don't know. But it's going to be a tough matchup for us there.
Yeah, I agree. Fletcher Cox was my pick early on, but then I heard that he was dealing with some injuries, so I'm hoping he kind of slowed from that. But hey, if he's not, yeah, that's a problem because one of the things that I think that was missing from the Chargers games was there was no push up the middle whatsoever. They need some definite help on that interior defensive line to get them some push because without that, we was able to just keep those DNs at bay. In this case, it's going to be a little bit different. They got Derek Barnett on one end, they got Brandon Graham on another, and then you got Fletcher Cox up the middle. That can cause a little bit of a problem for us. And then I'm hearing that Decker ain't hurt, so the only consolation to that is if Decker does play, and he doesn't hold up, we know we can rotate the other guy in and be good. So no ifs, ands, and buts about that. But I mean, who should we be having a spotlight on offense and defense for this game? We'll start off with you though, Drew, since you just came on with us.
For the Lions or for the Eagles?
For the Lions.
I think Matthew Stafford's going to have a good game offensively for us.
Agree.
The Eagles are a tough team to run the ball against. I know we're trying to establish this run game and get that going for us, but Philadelphia is a tough place to play. They're very good against the run, so I think Matthew Stafford's going to have to play pretty much a perfect game in order for us to win this. And then defensively, we got to get this pass rush going. So I'm looking for a big game from Trey Flowers. I think those are the two big names for this game: Trey Flowers and Matthew Stafford. Okay,
all right. And what say you, Carl? Who are those guys that we should be having a spotlight on for the Detroit Lions?
I would say I would have a spotlight on Kenny Galladay because I like the matchup against those corners because I mean like the corners are inexperienced. I mean they're hurt. They're a little hurt at corner and I don't trust Ronald Darby. I see him get cooked a lot, and I think we should have a spotlight on Kenny Galladay. Also, we should have a spotlight on Matthew Stafford because he's got to win us this game. I don't think we can run the ball against the Eagles. So we gotta trust Matthew Stafford too.
So you got Matthew Stafford and Kenny Galladay as your two people. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. I think my two people, one for offense that I would keep my eye on. Believe it or not, it's going to have to be Frank Ragnow because if Fletcher Cox plays, that's going to be his assignment. Okay, he's going to have to help those guards out with that D tackle, and it needs to be methodical enough that it slows Fletcher Cox down to give Matthew Stafford a clean pocket for another week. On defense, the guy that I'm putting the spotlight on, it has to be Trey Flowers. I mean, at some point, he's going to have to start to pinch the pocket and keep containment when it comes to, keeping them in the box and keeping the quarterback contained and helping shutting down that run. Right now, it's still fresh for him. I'm not going to kill him too much, but the D-line as a whole has not performed up to the bill. So for me, those would be my two. But what say you, MicroMike?
For offense, this is a no-brainer for myself. It's Taylor Decker. Look, he didn't play last week, and Terrell Crosby did well. He played week 1, and he did abysmal. He needs to protect Matthew Stafford, and if he has anything near the game he had week 1, they need to put him on a short leash like they did Jamal Agnew. He's got to protect. The only way we win is via trenches. If we continue to give up sacks, continue to give up holding penalties, it is going to kill the drive, and it's going to basically we lose. And it's vital for him to do his job and do it correctly. And if he's unable to do it, throw in Terrell Crosby, who did a better job. For defense, this is a no-brainer as well. This is Davis. He has finally come back. We now get to see what our defense is with our quarterback in the middle of the defense, Mr. Jared Davis. I want to see how intensified the defense is with him in there. I want to see how much more blitzes they utilize with Tavai. I think you're going to see Tavai get thrown in there a lot now that Davis is in the middle and he can kind of take over what was missing the last couple of weeks. I want to see how better we do stopping the run with Davis in the middle and also covering the tight ends. So that is my spotlight players for the Lions offense and defense.
Absolutely. And we have 70 people in the chat. I think I only seen 36 thumbs up. Let's get those likes up, people, so this video can stay in circulation and make its little round so other Detroit fans can help build the DSA community and make it a bigger thing. So I'm just get right into it. The next question for me is clear. Is this a must-win game for the Detroit Lions? I'll start it off. It has to be. There's this right here represents the toughest part of our schedule. And I was talking to Hands Therapeutic Massages. I think I said that right. And he made a very good point about the same thing, saying that, if the Lions come out and handle their business right now, in this part of it, which is supposed to be the toughest part of their schedule, the back end of it is not as bad. You have the Raiders, you have the Bucks, you have teams that you will have a chance to beat that's a little bit more easier down the stretch, but you got to start by coming out strong in these first couple groups of games. So, yes, this is absolutely a must-win game. Carl, is today a must-win game for you?
I mean, it has to be a must-win game. I mean, like you said, this is probably the toughest part of our schedule. And, I mean, you just got to take advantage, especially you got to take advantage of the opportunities that we have. Like this team is clearly not healthy. I mean, you just gotta take advantage of that. Just like we took advantage of the Chargers being, unhealthy last week. I mean, all these games count, and we got to win the games that we have, and we need to win the games that we should win. We have to win the games that you should win because you got Kansas City next, which I don't think we should win. I mean, and I could easily see us losing that game. So we definitely got to win the Eagles game, and we definitely have to win the Packers game too.
I mean, and I think that's fair. Then that also goes hand in hand with that national media giving us a little respect. I mean, you go out, you beat the Eagles, you beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you get a bye week, which you get a little bit of time off. You come back out and you go against the Packers and win that. Yeah, they're gonna have to start paying some respect and put some respect on our name. So definitely on that part. What say you, Drew? Must-win game for you?
I'm not gonna say it's a must-win game yet.
Okay.
I think their must-win game was last week against the Chargers, but this puts a lot of emphasis on why you must win week 1 games, especially against lesser teams like Arizona. I know that tie might come back to help us, but this team should be 2-0 right now with a good shot of being 3-0. You're not going to beat Kansas City. I give the Lions maybe a 10-15% chance of beating Kansas City. If the Lions can go out there and execute the game plan, win, lose, or draw this game, and just be competitive, that means you have had back-to-back games against playoff teams where you played well. And now you're going to have to play a Super Bowl contender next week against Kansas City. And depending on how well you can do there, this is really going to shape the formation of how this team's going to be the rest of the season because you're getting tested early on in the season. You're healthy. It's going to be a good challenge for this team. Hopefully they can build some momentum off of this game and win 2 in a row because they're not going to win next week. You can bet your bottom dollar on that one. But is it a must-win? No. They just have to go out there and play hard and be competitive.
Now, Drew, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. I still got them winning next week's game against the Kansas City Chiefs.
I like your enthusiasm, but I don't see it, man.
It's the matchups. It's the matchups that I see. I'm looking at the matchups, and when I watch Kansas City, and I'm like, let's be honest, who has Kansas City played? Who have they played that has the weaponry that they're going to have to face against the Lions? The Lions have some perfectly good setup matchups to go against them. The Kansas City Chiefs defense secondary is not the strongest. Our receiving core should expose that. And when you go through and you just look at the tight end position, who they linebackers are going to take our tight ends away? We just need to hold up on the offensive line. Defensively, their best weapon is going to be what? Sammy Watkins
And Travis
and
Kelce.
Travis Kelce. So guess what? You're going to see a safety playing with Travis Kelce, and you're going to have to find Patrick Mahomes going to have to generate a run game and try to find Sammy Watkins. I like the matchup, and I think we win that game. Just a little preview of what's going to go down next week. So
I hope we do.
Damian Williams
I just
isn't
don't see
healthy.
it, man.
hey, I'm just saying, man.
Damian Williams isn't healthy either, so you know.
I'm just saying. But Mike, what say you? I mean, is this a must-win game for you?
Yes, because it's an NFC opponent. This is vital to win the games against the NFC teams because just in case we do not win the NFC North, we need to have a better record against all NFC teams for a wild card spot. We got a tie in there, so we got to get the wins in against these NFC teams. It means a little bit more to me, and the Eagles are probably going to have a decent record by the end of the year, so we have to win them now. Look, just a couple years ago when we lost to the Falcons. That was basically the loss that took us out of the playoffs, so we have to win these NFC teams. It starts with the Eagles. We got to win, and we got to beat them on their home turf. It's important that we get wins against these teams. We start losing NFC teams, then you have to focus on the NFC North because the wild card is out of spot. So you got to think, okay, we got to win these games, and they are must wins. Because if you want to go to the postseason, you got to win NFC teams. It means more than AFC.
Yeah, I mean, in those conference games make a huge difference. That's why it's even more emphasis on the win. And you brought up a point that I didn't even think to go with, the fact that we're going against another conference team. So I mean, hey, kudos to you. We got 83 people in the chat. Let's get those thumbs up, ladies and gentlemen, making sure that we get this in circulation. And if you have not told a friend to tell a friend, do so. Tell them to come on. We're talking our Detroit Lions and talking about what's going on in this game and why you should be excited about it. There's a lot of things that are occurring where the stars are lining up for the Lions. The Lions just simply need to take the ride. So make sure that you get with it. But listen, for me, this game right here today with the Eagles is going to come down to matchups. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing is paying close attention to certain matchups. So with that being said, Carl, let's talk about it. What matchup are you going to be paying most attention to today?
I'm probably going to be mostly paying attention to probably I would have to say right now versus Fletcher Cox, because if Fletcher Cox can get pressure, I mean it's going to be hard for us to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be big time hard. You're talking about the middle of the pocket collapsing. That's not good for the quarterback. He should be able to step up if he needs to. What say you, Drew?
I'm going to be watching Kerryon Johnson versus the front seven of the Eagles. If we can just get, 60-plus rushing yards out of Kerryon Johnson, we should be in pretty good shape. I'm not expecting a whole lot of big running plays against the Philadelphia Eagles, but if we can get something, then it's better than nothing,
Absolutely. I mean, and the Kerryon Johnson, i.e. the run game, is going to be the hugest part of the Detroit Lions season. We got to get that thing going. It's frustrating to see the amount of carries that they're giving. However, this week, instead of splitting carries with C.J. Anderson, they'll be splitting carries with Ty Johnson. So we're going to get that Johnson and Johnson's love this time around. And that is where we have to be able to win those battles. We have to. So for me, I think you hitting the nail on the head with that run game. I think it's a big part of what's going on. What say you, Mike?
Well, let me do a bonus one quick, and it's the Detroit Lions versus the Flags. We need to square up on discipline.
I hear that.
They have got to get better discipline, and that's on all three phases, special teams, offense, and defense. But for the main matchup I want to see is Darrell Bevell versus Jim Schwartz. We know what Jim Schwartz is going to do. He's going to do a lot of pass rush. And what I'm hoping and what I'm thinking Darrell Bevell is going to do is turn around and give Matthew Stafford screen pass to Ty Johnson to negate this pass rush that they're going to throw at us. And once that happens a couple of times, then we can start to open up and gash them a little bit more. But this is the big time matchup. How does our offensive coordinator defeat Jim Schwartz with the pass rush he's going to throw at us. I do believe he's going to win ultimately because I think that Darrell Bevell has got all sorts of plans just in case what he believes is going to happen with Jim Schwartz, and we're going to win that matchup. That's the biggest matchup in my opinion.
Absolutely. We have I Don't Give a Chuck who goes, Luke, if you are a hockey fan and you love you some good hockey and you just want to hear about hockey news, this man has a very good channel for you. Simply click on his name, go to his channel, and you will get all your hockey news. He does a phenomenal job. I mean, absolutely amazing job of keeping up with the hockey, and he knows what he's talking about. So if you're into your hockey, definitely want to check this guy up. I Don't Give a Chuck. I mess with him. I watch his videos to stay in tune with what's going on. And I got to tell you, if you want to know what's going on, you want to rock with him as well. Appreciate you for being here. We have 90 people in the chat. Let's get those likes up, ladies and gentlemen. If you have already put a like in, give me one in the chat just for good measure. Appreciate it. Yeah, for me, the matchup that I'm going to be looking at the most is really going to be our D-line versus the offensive line. I feel like if the Eagles get any chance to run the ball on us, it's going to be a long day. And I mean a long day. We can't have that, okay? We can't be sitting up there playing this game of having a defense stay on the field because they can't shut the run down. That D-line needs to become what it was paid to be, and that is shut down the run. I just, and plus, and I think you hit on it too, Mike, when you talked about them, Jim Schwartz. He's going to be doing that, rotating people. And we got to catch them on that stuff. The minute they want to do that rotate, we got to snap the ball and get them caught on that. So we need to, like you said, we got to be disciplined and we got to make sure that we're doing our part. So shout out to those who put the thumbs up in the chat, man. Truly appreciate it. And that's how it's, we want to do it to show support for each other. Now, this is one of those questions that I thought about. And it made me nervous, and I thought to myself, how am I going to really go about doing this? But who wins this game for us? And if we are going to win this game, who wins it? The offense or the defense? Let's start off with you, Carl.
What was the question again?
Who wins this game for us? The offense or the defense?
I personally believe, this is a tough question. I mean, I think the defense wins us this game. Because I think the defense is more important because I think the defense just they have to stop the run and they have to, and I think we win this game through defense because I think like the last game I noticed like the first two games we played well when the defense was getting stops for us, and I think if the defense can play well, I think we easily win this game.
Yeah, I think the defense is definitely going to be the way that many of us want to go, but this is going to come down to putting points on the board. And the offense is going to have to find a way to do it and put the pressure on the offense that's missing all its best weapons to beat us. Yeah. If our secondary can't shut them down, you're right. We're going to have a long day. If our run defense is not there, it's going to be a long day. But I think we got to put points on the board. What say you, Mike?
I'm going offense. I feel like so far this year, the Lions' offense has not turned it up to what I believe they can. I think they will today. I think they're going to put a lot of points on the board, and I think they're going to go down the field quite a bit. When I look at the defense of the Eagles, their defensive line is very good. However, their secondary is a little bit suspect, and I think they're going to do a mismatch with T.J. Hockenson as well as Galladay and getting Amendola in there and Marvin Jones. We're going to see a lot of bigger plays than we have been in the last couple of weeks. I think that the score is going to reflect how our offense is going to finally get on the same page, as the mistakes will be lessened and they will be getting far more points and far more reward for what they're doing on offense today than they have the last 2 weeks.
I mean, and I get it. I mean, you touching on some points that I just didn't think of in that light, but I definitely know we got to score. We can't do this 13 points and expect to win this game. That's not going to get it done. What say you, Drew?
It's a tough question because both sides of the ball are going to have to play well to win this game, especially on the road. I think that the defense is going to do the best of their ability to slow them down, But at the end of the day, I'm looking at this offense, and just like Mike said, we got to put some points on the board. These low-scoring games aren't going to cut it for us. We have enough weapons offensively to be a top 10 offense in the league.
Agree.
There's no debate in that. That's facts. So they
Yeah.
gotta find something. There's a little bit of inconsistency out there. If they're gonna double Hawkinson, that just means someone else is open. So we're gonna move the ball a little bit more. I expect a big game out of Stafford. So I think offense is gonna need to make some plays to take some of this pressure off of this defense, because this defense is not going to be able to live up to getting away with out of the red zone without giving up any points for some fumbles. You got to help them out at some point sooner rather than later. So I'm going offense needs to come up with some big plays.
Absolutely. Now, 12th Man Pride, it's another person who is still working on getting his channel up. He's going to be talking Detroit Lions and Seattle Seahawks football. Make sure you subscribe to him. He says, hey, Luke, who do you think is going to be able to get on Zach Ertz? It's going to be a safety, either Tavon Wilson or Will Harris. It's one of those two. It's going to be some form of a safety on him. They're not going to put too many linebackers on him. Laurie Wesley says, what is the real strength of the Lions that anyone knows? Mike, you want to take this one?
The strength of the Lions is their special teams.
Oh, wow.
That was a joke.
Excuse me.
The strength of the Lions, for what I've seen so far, and what I predicted actually all off season, was the secondary. I feel like the secondary is got a lot of talent. They have the ability to make big time plays, to get a lot of turnovers, and obviously with big play slate to make sure that the pass does not get in for the end zone for a touchdown to win the game. I feel like the secondary here is the strength. I feel like they can take away the weapons on any team, not just the Eagles. The Eagles are down their 1 and 2 wide receiver, but I feel like they match up well with a lot of teams. You look at Darius Slays in number 1. You look at Rashawn Melvin, who's been a fantastic number 2 and actually been one of the best cornerbacks in the league per PFF, even though we don't go all by PFF. And then you got Coleman in there in the slot. I just feel that this secondary is one of the best in the NFL, and it's going to negate a lot of quarterbacks this year.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it is one of them things that you look at when it comes to the strength of it. For me, the real strength of this team is going to have to come from the offensive coordinator. He's done a phenomenal job in the first 2 games in terms of play calling to keep us alive, but we got to get better. We got to get better in execution, and we got to get better in game management. So for me, it would be the offensive coordinator is our strength, because that's going to get us where we need to be, and that's going to get us where we want to be. But again, it's one of the things that we have to do. Now, so one of the biggest things that's been coming out all week is that the Lions are a 7 to 7.5 point underdog to the Eagles. And my question is, should the Lions be considered underdogs for this game? Let's start off with you, Drew.
Yes, sir. Eagles are a proven playoff team. It's not that long ago they won the Super Bowl. They're at home. They're a tough team to play at home, no matter what their record says. It's just throughout their history. They're a tough team to play in Philadelphia. It's going to be a tough environment for us to play in, especially since it's outside. I'm not sure if it's supposed to rain or whatever in Philadelphia. I'm just thankful it's not snowing out. So the Eagles are going to have that home field advantage playing outside since we play in a dome. I don't know if about 7-point underdogs. I probably would have gone 5-point underdogs. But we should be underdogs heading into this game.
I mean, I totally get it. And if you ask me, I think they should too. To me, they should be considered underdog. I want the disrespect to be real, and I want the Lions to find energy from that disrespect. Why should people respect you? Make them respect you. Show me what they need to see to have the respect that they should give. First game, you blew an 18-point lead. Okay. Second game, you barely beat a team. This game around, why should they respect you? We're going to have to go out there. So those are the things that I'm looking at. Now, sports game breakdowns. He says 89 people equals 89 likes. Come on, people. Absolutely. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, but to me, it's one of the things where you know, I can't take for granted if they don't have no respect for us yet. We haven't done anything to make them have respect. It reminds me of that movie. I don't know if you ever seen that movie where it's like Eddie Griffin and that DJ, and he comes out of prison, and Eddie Griffin tells him, go into jail, find the biggest dude, punch him in the face, and show him that you the man. And it's the same thing here. They may have some injuries, but so did the Cardinals. So did the Chargers. And the Chargers game is at home. This is on the road. So I'm not shocked that, we would be considered underdogs here. But what say you, Carl?
I mean, it doesn't surprise me that we're underdogs. I mean, we should be underdogs because, like we struggled against Arizona. We tied against them. There's no way, and we should have tied against them. And then we only scored 13 points and barely beat the injured Chargers team. I mean, I don't see how we should get respect. I mean, we don't really deserve it. I mean. And plus, I mean, I hate to say it, I mean, we're the Lions. I mean, it's gonna take a little more. It's gonna take a little more to get that respect we need, the respect we want.
Yeah, I mean, the moment the statement is where the Lions is still being used, that's not good. That means we have not taken this by the rings and shown people that we are, who they thought we were. In other words, if we're gonna have games like this, people are feeling like, oh, y'all are fortunate to go against teams who are hurt, and therefore. No wonder you're not going to get that respect. But what say you, Mike? I mean, should we be considered underdogs in this game?
The national media can consider us underdogs and give us a ridiculous point spread. I don't care. They mean nothing to me. They mean nothing to my team. They don't affect my team. They don't affect me. Keep disrespecting us. Perfectly fine. So when we succeed, you look like fools. This is why I did not respond to the Eagles fans just dogging me, saying Lions are trash, going to get blown out, because, man, they're not paying attention to players and rosters. I feel like, yeah, we should be favored to lose by maybe 1 or 2, but 7, 8, come on now. That's utterly ridiculous. And again, I don't care. It means nothing. The game is going to play, and the game's going to take place, and what takes place has nothing to do with what the national pundits believe the Lions are going to do. They mean nothing. They're trash. What they spew is trash. They don't understand the game, and keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Hey man, hey, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a fair assessment, though. I think it's a fair assessment. But speaking of social media, people, let me tell y'all my quick little off-track story. So apparently, I'm upsetting people's wives. So someone made a post on Twitter saying that did anybody see Tavon Wilson's tackle in the Chargers game that set up the forced fumble for Jelani Tavai? And I responded with, yes, he did a very good job of getting the tackle to slow him down. However, the forced fumble was the more important play. And so I get a message from a lady who says, at this point, you're just a TW hater. And I'm like, TW? Who the hell is this? So I do some research and come to find out it is Tavon Wilson's wife. She has hit me up on Twitter. Now, this lady has been on Twitter going at me hard for a while, and I didn't know who she was. I was just like, okay, you need a little help, but okay. Well, she turns around and goes, you a hater. I said, wait a minute. Why am I a hater for pointing out what made more sense? Yes, he made the tackle, but if he just makes the tackle when the guy is down, they still have a shot for a field goal. They still have a shot for a touchdown. They were still in scoring position. They were on the goal line. I said, that forced fumble killed all those dreams. She never responded after that. And then once I responded with, well, I'm not trying to talk bad about your husband, but speak facts about the game of football, she got real quiet. Now, if that's not enough, J-Mo makes a post on Twitter being like, yo, Chris Lacey is gone. Can you feel a brand new day? And guess who likes to post? Chris Lacey. So apparently we being watched. People are watching us. They're watching the DSA. They're watching what the fans are saying, and they're responding. So, just FYI, when you post something, expect that the people that you don't think gonna respond to it will. I just want to share that because I thought that was the strangest thing ever. Like, I got people wives coming at me. What in the world? Mike, I see you ain't did too much on Twitter, but I wonder who's gonna come at you when this is all said and done. But let's get into this one right here. I mean, let's talk about this game. Let's lock it in right now. Who wins this game and give me the final score? Let's go with you, Mike. All right. Well, he said I'll be right back. My bad. Let's go with you. Drew.
I'm going Philadelphia. I'm going to be the bad guy here. It's going to be a close one. I'm going to go 24-17.
24-17 Philadelphia. Oh.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm.
All right. Any particular reason why that score and why exactly the Eagles? Is it something that you seeing that I may not be paying attention to?
I
I'm
just
curious.
I just don't like playing in Philadelphia, man. It's just going to be a tough matchup for us. I just don't know if offensively we're ready to be clicked yet, especially running the ball against Philadelphia. I mean, the whole hype for this offseason was that we're going to be run you down your throat and play a tough defense, and we're not running the ball the way we were supposed to be running it. The thing that you have to take into consideration here before we start saying that this team's going to be dominant, it's a new offensive scheme. It takes time to learn. They've only been together a few months. You know, they don't know what each other's going to do yet. I mean, you've seen that a little bit last week where Stafford was looking for Amendola and just their timing was off. He didn't know what move he was going to do to break it with. Come mid-season, this team's going to have some more experience underneath its belt, and they'll be clicking more, and I'll have more faith into them. But as sooner or later, you have to do more offensively to help this defense out because your defense has been getting tired, you know, after the second half. They got tired a little bit against the Chargers, and that's why you blew an 18-point lead against Arizona. Your offense has to stay out there on the field, and I just don't know if they have enough chemistry and timing yet to be with the team that we think they're going to be yet.
Man. Okay, I wasn't ready for that response. Okay. All right.
Before that, though, let me say this, though. I'm only doing this because every time I pick the Lions to win, they lose. And every time I pick against them, they win. So you can thank me later.
Hey, I'll take it then. I'll take it. Admin Washington says DSA ex-Alliance Andre Fluellen is on NFL Network, and he is watching you all. He is in my study group. He says, keep up the good work, man. Absolutely. Tell Mr. Fluellen I would love for him to come on the field review, and let's talk a little football. So if he's in your study group, tell him I am looking for him to come on and talk a little football. And he can hit me up on Twitter to set it all up. So it is in the description with the contact information. I appreciate that. What say you? What say you, Carl? I mean, who wins this game and give me the final score? Lock it in.
I think the Lions win this game 28-17.
Okay.
I just believe I think we should win. I look at matchups. I mean, I like on offense. I like our receivers against their corners, and I expect them, to at least hold Fletcher Cox in check, and I expect the defense to stop the run with Jared Davis coming back, and I'd expect them to win this game. I think we're the better team especially with all the scars that the Eagles have. I just think we should win.
I mean, for me, I'm going to go and say 24-14. This is me putting an expectation on the Lions. I want them to stuff them out. Just stuff them out. They have a lot of injuries, and we should take advantage of it. We can't keep this up, and we can't keep acting like this stuff is not happening. Give me that win-loss record and who wins this game, Mike.
I'm going to go with the Lions, and they'll be 24-21. And Andre Fluellen, awesome. Thank you also for watching our content. That would be great for you to come on the roundtable. With that said, yeah, I think the Lions offense is going to do better than what they've done the last couple of weeks. They're going to put up some points. However, I do feel at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, we'll be up by a little bit, and we'll start doing that prevent defense like we have done, and the Eagles will get another score to make it 21-27. But ultimately, the Lions win due to offense and the ineffectiveness of the wide receivers of the Eagles due to 1 and 2 being out will also help us get that W.
All right. Now we have 94 in the chat. Let's get those likes up, people. Keep them going. And the predictions are coming in. I'm seeing 21-17. I've seen 31-17. 17 seem to be like the consensus number that they think that this offense of the Eagles can score. What do you expect Cox to be held in check? So here's the thing. Here's why I think here's why I expect Cox to be held in check. They have to. There's no other explanation for it. The center is going to be doing his best job to signal to the guards who's doubling who and taking them out of the game. You have to create a pocket where the quarterback can step up, and that falls on the center. He has to be able to be in line with his guards to neutralize Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox should not be having the kind of game that we just saw Calais Campbell have against the Titans. That was a lack of center play and communication with the guard. So we shouldn't see that in this game. And if we do, there's a huge problem with it for me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to switch it over to this time with the questions. You guys can ask us anything you want. You can make it specifically to one person. You can make it to the whole panel. It is your world. The only reason we are not opening the phone lines up for this particular section is because we're going to get off about 12:45, giving everybody 15 minutes to get themselves ready, to get their beer, their food, and whatever else they need to get ready for the game. So wanted to be considerate to you guys and ladies to, get yourself ready for the game. So any questions you have, post them in there. One of the things that stood out to me, fellas, when I watched this game and I listened, what in the world? Somebody eating a thing of lettuce? What the heck is going on?
I don't know who that is.
What is that? Let me play around and see what's going on. All right, I don't know. But one of the things that I noticed, fellas, with the one of the things I noticed with the media coverage of this team is they are afraid to say the Lions is going to win, but they're even more uncomfortable with saying that the Eagles is going to win. And this uncomfortability is creating a little bit of a dilemma for them because they don't get it. How is this thing happening with them? And I think that's a very interesting point. Now, here's James Willis. He says, tell me more about the Hall signing. So Marvin Hall is a wide receiver. He's been on a few different teams. And at the end of the day, he's a taller receiver with a little bit more speed than Lacey. So that's what it is. But he's been really good on special teams. And that's what people liked about him. That's what, again, these are just best ways. If you pay attention, they're picking up players for intel. So this is not nothing new. Deshaun Gossett 313 said, who starts at left tackle? Drew, who do you think starts at left tackle for us?
I'll go for Drew if he's not available. I would say predominantly I feel Taylor Decker is going to start at the left tackle position, but I feel like he should be on a short leash. If he starts screwing up, they need to consider throwing Terrell Crosby in there.
Hey, I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. I think Decker is going to be a starter as well. I think when you go through and you look at it, I mean, who else is you going to put out there? Let's be honest. I don't really know. I don't really know who else you can put out there to sign for him. So food for thought. Buffed Up says, will Miles Sanders have 100 yards, 1 touchdown game? Yes, or most likely. He could have 100-yard rushing game against us. I don't think that'll be enough for them to win it. And Miles Sanders, in my opinion, is somebody that if I was doing fantasy, I wouldn't start him against this defense. I can tell you that much. The linebacking core is going to touch him. And one thing about Miles Sanders is he has a tendency to dance in the backfield. You better not do it with this defense because you give them a little bit more time than usual, they'll make a play. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him get 100. I want to ask Noble. Well, Noble is not on the panel down, Burr, and I don't eat pork, so I know I don't eat baby back ribs. But I do tear up some greens, and I make a mean pot of greens myself. How do you think our 3-4 will look with Tavai Davis in the middle? Ooh, Drew, that's for you.
I mean, it's going to be good for the future of this team. I think the thing about Tavai is he's getting better game after game, play after play. He's still learning the scheme and stuff. It's going to get better towards the end of the season, but I tell you what, for the next 5 years, that is going to be a nasty duo and a tough one for everyone to deal with. I like the future of this team. I like the future of that duo.
Hey, Carl, I mean, what's your thought on that? I mean, Jelani Tavai and Davis in the middle?
That's gonna look great, man. They're both very versatile. I mean, and I just like how Davis gives us that extra element, and I see Tavai improving after every game. He's improved after every game so far, so I expect him to improve even more with that extra help.
Yeah, I agree. I think that little setup is going to be huge because one of the things about it is even if we were to even come out in a 4-3, those guys can play outside and in. So that's the versatility that we look for, and that's good for us. So we don't have to be predictable. So I love the setup. I know there's been questions about who comes in and start and who sits, but we run a 3-4, so there's no need to ask about who comes in, who sits. James says, Luke, does TJ have a good game? Yes. They're going to try to use Malcolm Jenkins to take away the tight end, but he should definitely have a better game than he did against the Chargers, who was watching him like a hawk. This game, I don't think they don't have enough to keep a guy watching him like a hawk and go against our receiving core. The receiving core exposed them, and that was one of the big problems. Now, we have 104 people in the chat. I think I count the likes at 30, 80? Okay.
Yes.
All right, yeah. I don't know why my thing is freezing, but it did. So appreciate that. Let's get those likes up and see if we can get ourselves to 100 even. I would appreciate that. Dr. Dirk says, y'all like our new returner. Who's the new returner that? Because did I miss it? I thought they were going to still go with the Agnew and the Danny Amendola experiment. So if there's a new returner, Dr. Dirk, I must have missed that. My apology. If you're talking about Marvin Hall, I doubt he gets out there today. Let me see. What do you think we can? It says, why do you think we can hold Cox in check? Any of our alignment on his level, or do the scheme double him? I think I answered that one already, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It says, would the Lions D line be able to handle the Eagles O line? Ooh, Mike.
This one's going to be very difficult, in my opinion. I feel like the Eagles' offensive line is better than what we have tested so far. And I think our defensive line has already had issues getting to pass rush. I think what we need to pay attention here is if they can stop the run with the defensive line, and if with Davis in the middle, if Tavai can do the pass rush and get some sacks in that sense via blitz. I think if you're strictly going offense and defensive line, I think the offensive line of the Eagles has a much bigger ability to negate pass rush than we have seen the last couple of games. But again, it's all depending on if we blitz more, and I feel like we should, and if Tavai now can be utilized in that package because Davis is in there.
I got to be honest. I'm a little bit on the fence about this because I don't know if I want them to necessarily go all out to create the pressure as much as to contain the quarterback. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. If you go too crazy with trying to just get the quarterback, he has the ability to escape, and he keeps his head down the field while he's running. So I want them to contain him, but I want them to bottle him up and force him to make tough throws. So that would be my statement on it. Drew, do you think Trey Flower gets on track today from that standpoint?
It's got to be a key factor here soon because, I mean, he really hasn't had a big game yet. It's only 2 games in the season, so I'm not freaking out about it. With the addition of Davis, your defense is fully healthy. You can run some blitz schemes. You can do different coverages and run some different schemes with that front 7. So I think that it's not only going to be a Trey Flowers kind of day, but the defensive line, you should start seeing better improvement week in and week out. And then whenever Hand comes back, that's when everything should be clicking in gear and everyone should start having some better games.
Facts.
Yeah, Catherine Edmond says, how do you guys feel about Dole, Ragnar, Glasgow? Oh, Dow, I think she's trying to say, okay, against Cox. I think if the center does his job, it shouldn't be an issue. It should be some double teams and some things to shut that down without problem. So if they do their job, then they good. It says, Rocco P says, do you think the Lions should observe the screen game since the Chargers did it to us? Man, absolutely. You know what? I'll let Carl talk about this a little bit more. What do you think about that, Carl?
Yeah, I mean, I think we should observe the screen game. The Chargers lit us up with the screen game last game.
And the Eagles do got Darren Sproles. And on top of having Darren Sproles, they got Miles Sanders. So they got some running backs who can be phenomenal. That's what I'm saying. They got running backs that's going to be phenomenal in that pass game. So, yes, I think the screen game is going to be huge against us, more particularly the wide receiver screen game. You got to pay attention to that, too. That's going to be a big one. We got 105 in the chat. Let's get those lights up, people. We are truly appreciating the support and the people getting up this morning to get ready for some football because I got to make sure I go out and get my pizza. So gonna have some good food today. Burner account says, what are your expectations for Jared Davis this season? Oh, we can all answer that one. Let's go down the list. Let's start off with you, Drew. What are your expectations for Jared Davis this season?
He needs to be this defensive leader. I think people are looking
Agree.
at Trey Flowers, Slay to be some of these leaders, but really, you can see in our division that linebackers really run the defense. Look how much of an impact Khalil Mack has had on the Chicago Bears as he has come over there. Now, I'm not saying Jared Davis is even remotely close to being on Khalil Mack level, but you don't have to be a leader. We need a leader up front. We have a lot of big names. I don't care if Davis is putting up huge numbers or not, but we need someone to help out, pick out some of the different play calls that quarterbacks are calling out there, changing plays. And I think Davis has that ability to be one of the best leaders on this defensive front.
Hey, I totally get it. I totally get it. For me, my expectations for him to do what he did when he first came into the league, be all over the field, be disruptive. I know a lot of people, he misses tackles, he overruns, blitzes and stuff. I know he do those things, but I want to overall see an improvement. You got more help. You got more better talent in front of you on the D-line. You got better people in front of you. On the side of you at the linebacker position. I want to see you step up, be the leader, and be more aggressive in the play of field. What say you, Carl? What are your expectations for him?
I expect him to be better. But I kind of give him a little pass his first 2 years. He clearly improved after every year. But I give him a little pass because he played in 2 different defensive schemes. So I expect him to play better. It's his second year in the scheme. And I just expect him to play better, to be the leader of this defense, especially since you're more experienced now, and you've been, and I think you have more help in the linebacking core, so you have to play better.
One of the most interesting things about it is when you look at him on the sideline, he be on the sideline acting like he's in the game. Hey, this is what I saw. I didn't see this. Oh, why are you over here? Man, you got to get here, So he's definitely doing his part to assisting us. What are your expectations, Mike?
I want to see what he brings to this defense via intangible, and that is the passion, the excitement, the ferocity that he brings to a defense. I know it's something not to be talked about a lot, but when you have someone in there that passionate, that excited, that extreme, it elevates players around them. And I want to see him bring that defense and take it to the next level. I want to see these guys flying. I want to see these guys pounding. And I feel like Jared Davis does help in that intangible sense when it comes to players around him on defense. And just maybe we can do much better than what we've seen the last couple of games. And if he does that and just his attitude does elevate it, look, sky's the limit for the defense. We have a lot of talent on this defense. Now it just needs to be utilized in the correct way to bring us better results.
Absolutely. Now, King Cole says, do you think Matty P will keep Carson in check to you are? Okay. I'll start this one off. He better. And I don't even think it's necessarily so much as it is him dealing with Paul Pasqualoni saying, hey, this is what I need from you, and keeping the quarterback in check, because his receivers core is already thinned out. He's going to have his tight ends out there. And so we have to shut the run down and take away the tight end and force him to have to throw to those receivers. I believe our secondary is good enough to keep that ball out of their hands, but it's not going to be an easy day if he can dot us up with the tight end and kill us in the run game. What say you, Carl?
I think Matty P should make it his mission to shut down Carson Wentz. Especially since you got killed in that Super Bowl by the Eagles, man. You should make it your mission to shut down the Eagles today.
And I happily agree with that. It should be the mission. That should be the ultimate goal. What say you, Drew?
I think it's going to be interesting since both Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson are not going to play. I think you can gamble a little bit more. You're not going to have to worry about getting burnt down the field by Deshaun Jackson. So you can put a little bit more pressure on him. You can bring your secondary up a little bit to limit those screens and really just have to worry about Ertz at this point as their main weapon. So be a little bit more aggressive defensively, and I think you could do a pretty good job of shutting Wentz down.
Absolutely. Tone Capone says DSA should apply for free press and get them guys out of there. Don't be surprised what you see. Stay tuned.
I concur with that statement, by the way.
Right, exactly. Fresh 313% says King Cole, no, he won't. Justin Baldwin says my prediction: Lions 27, Eagles 13. Okay. Vash Darwin says, I know Noble Sports. He said somebody eating lettuce. Hey, that's what it sounds like. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Davin said, what's good? Let me see. I'm gonna make sure we get everything up there. It says get Tavon wife on the round table. Man, I don't think she wants to come on the round table. She was not too kind. And I think what happened was she was willing to talk as long as she thought I did not know who she was. And the powerful thing known as Google will tell all. So when I kept seeing the name and the picture, and I started following the rabbit hole, I realized that was his wife, and I was like, oh. So then she stopped talking when I was like, I'm not trying to talk about your husband, but tell the truth about football. Let me see. It says prediction: the Detroit Lions will use Ty Johnson in the quick screen game. The Eagles will attack our O-line quickly, and staff will dump it off to Ty.
Yes.
Oh, Ty Johnson finna get some touches for real.
That's spot on, right? That's exactly what I'm predicting today. Is you're going to see a lot of Ty Johnson, a lot of screen, and we're going to see what this young man can bring to this team. They're going to pass rush. What's the best way to negate it? Ty Johnson with a screen pass. So you're definitely spot on.
Absolutely. Ghost Gunner says, got any left tackle prospects you like at Lukegsfieldreview? I do have a few of them, starting with the guy that shut Montez Sweat down from Iowa, Warford. I've been paying attention to him and keeping an eye on him. And there's another guy that I've been keeping an eye on. And I told people this yesterday. If you watched that Michigan and Wisconsin game, you should have been paying close attention to Wisconsin center, number 61, Tyler Badias. I hope I pronounced his name right. As another prospect that's going to be on the radar for the Lions. So Warford from the Iowa and Badias from Wisconsin, but the rest of those I'll be doing film studies on and showing you what I saw and why I'm starting to build these profiles of people that the Lions are going to target. Let me see. Let me make sure I'm not missing because we're coming up on the end. Make sure I ain't missing no question. It says that dude mute his mic instantly. Like, who the f is eating lettuce? It did sound like lettuce. Why am I the only one that think it sounded like somebody was crunching on a iceberg lettuce, man?
I don't know who it was.
Blue and Silver said they have running back by committee. Howard, Sproles, and Sanders. That's okay because we should have defensive line by committee and eat a lot. They should be shutting that down. How will Tavine Davis duel turn out? Turn out pretty good if you ask me. It shouldn't be no problems there at all, to be honest with you. I can't believe they still talking about these greens and ribs. They got me dying up here in the chat. Y'all is crazy. Mm-hmm. And let me see. Anything else I'm missing? I think that's it, man. I definitely want to give people a chance to get ready for the game. So I'll give our final thoughts at this point. Let's start off with you, Carl, so we can get ourselves. That give us 30 minutes to prepare for the game. And really quick, folks, do not forget to hit that like button on your way out. We will have a post game after the Lions and Eagles game on MicroMike's channel, and MicroMike will be doing the live play-by-play with audio for the Lions and Eagles game. So you're going to want to check that out. But final thoughts, Carl.
Looking forward to this game. I mean, it's a must-win game for the Lions because we got to take advantage of these injured teams. And I just think, and I hope we win, man. And I think that gives us a lot of more. That will help us a lot in the season because we need to beat these NFC teams. And and we especially need to win because we got the Chiefs next. That's gonna be a really tough game. And tune into the post game and also tune into the audio and game breakdown by MicroMike. So tune into that.
Absolutely. Justin Baldwin says, any chance Lions trade for Ramsey? No. The Jaguars are now saying that they're not going to trade him, and that's because nobody was going to pay that 2 first-round price tag, and they knew it. So That was just a way for them to say, if somebody was willing to pay something so crazy, we'll take it. And nobody was crazy enough to pay for it, especially with this whole Antonio Brown situation. They like, nope, all these guys with attitudes, I'm good on. Will the Lions protect Stafford today? Yes, because they're going to find a balance between the run and screen game. Final thoughts over there, Drew.
I'm ready for some Drew Weiser, some Stromboli, and some chicken wings. It's going to be a good day. If we win, I might get a Philly cheesesteak to celebrate.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's how you doing.
See. We will see. But it should be a fun, entertaining game, though.
Well, you definitely better make sure you post if you get that Philly cheesesteak. What up, though, Detroit's on Big Will? Welcome to the show, man. Glad you was here with us. Blue and Silver says, how many carries for Carry-On and Ty? Carry-On's going to get probably 20, and Ty's probably going to get about 11, in my opinion. Mike, any final thoughts, man? I know you just hit the 1,000 club, man, and that's to these great people here who's watching with us, who got us to 111 in terms of people watching at once. So that's awesome.
Awesome job, fellas. I started 6 months ago and I reached 1,000 in 6 months, and that's without you guys. Without you guys, I definitely don't get there. Paying attention into the content and loving what the movement is doing here. And when it comes to today, folks, I am live streaming the game, but you will not be able to visually see it because I will get kicked off of YouTube, but the audio as well as play-by-play and analysis of what's taking place. So if you're into that type of stuff, jump on my channel after this. If you cannot watch the game due to being at work or for whatever reason, you will hear it on my channel, as well as the post-game show will be on my channel as well. And we know it gets fire after a post-game show, whether win or lose. It's something you're going to want to listen to. So make sure that you jump on my channel, and the folks of the DSA will be on there letting you know what took place.
Yeah, absolutely. Defensive Masterclass says, keep going, Luke. I wish I could, but I do want to give us time. Mike got to set up for his live broadcast of the game for those people who are out of market. And I really got to go get my pizza. I have been eating. Yeah, man, I've been eating clean for like a good month, man. It's just hard in these streets. So I'm finna get this pizza, y'all. And it surprisingly, it is a Philly cheesesteak pizza. So, hey, what can I say? What can I say? Blue Rain Studio says best podcast on YouTube. Shout out Detroit Sports Alliance. Where's my guy TA? TA is in the chat looking, which he probably should not doing because last time I checked, he was at church. So he might not want to be, posting too much up in here while he trying to get the good word. And Defensive Masterclass says, well done, Mike. Good job on 1,000.
Thanks, fellas.
Man, absolutely. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I missed anything. Don Burn Lions. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let me just clear it like this. Please make sure you hit that like button if you already have. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming to rock with us. There will be a post-game show today after the Lions and Eagles on MicroMike's channel. That will be on MicroMike's channel. You don't want to miss it. Also, if you are out of market or you are at work or you are on the road driving a truck or you are just at home in your bed healing up from spraining your ankle or anything like that, you're going to want to listen to it because not only is it entertaining, it is well worth the price of admission, which is free. So it only requires you to show up and be there and enjoy yourself. On top of that, make sure that you subscribe to all the members of the DSA. Every single member's channel is linked in my description on this video right now. As we speak, you're going to want to make sure you do that because you don't want to miss anything. I also want to give a special thank you to all those people who I've never seen in the chat today who was new to the show and enjoying what we're doing. So thank you. Thank you to Detroit Drew for coming on and filling in and making sure he can show support and solidarity with us, as well as CA3 Sports Talk for coming in and filling in to get this thing done. And I am almost at 1,300. I don't know the exact number because I don't usually keep track of this stuff. I just want to talk football. But as always, I like to leave you with a positive message, and I'm going to leave you with this one. A setback is a perfect setup for a quick come up. When one door closes, so many others open. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, never cut yourself short. Realize that there is light at the end of the tunnel. As always, ladies and gentlemen, don't be no chump. Please subscribe to the DSA, and we are out. See you at the post game.
Adios.
Adios.